Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about something it's something that I've dealt with before numerous times. It's something that I've had people come to me and talk to me about on so many different occasions. I'm surprised it's taken me this long to actually come and talk about it, but I had someone come and talk to me about this stuff earlier this week, and so I hope that person is watching. But ultimately, the thing that I want to talk about is the whole imposter syndrome thing. And this is becoming more and more frequent, more and more prevalent for people. Simply because we share so much stuff online, people get to see other people seemingly doing so well, people that you compare to, people that talk about things that you're dealing with, and you're feeling like you look out and you see these people either cruising by on luck or on some work, but more on the connections that they have, or they just seem to suddenly pull solutions and answers out of nowhere regardless of what they're doing. And it's one of those things where if you actually examined what they were doing and how they were doing it, then you would see that a good amount of it in some of these instances is just luck. Some of it is the kind of environment that they're working in. Some of it is the kind of person that they are, and they're actually doing an awful lot more work than it seems, but they're just taking it easy, in their demeanor, in their attitude, and so as a result it seems like they're doing less. But it's a case of all of this stuff is inside, and it can be very difficult because you're sat there and you're in that space, and you may very well have done everything, if not more, than those other people around you, and yet you don't feel like you belong there, like you're worth the space that you've been given. And I've had this a few times. Once in a management job where we had a general manager who was possibly one of the most toxic people I've ever worked with, and who would actively go out of his way to kind of belittle and strip down the people that were below him if they didn't do exactly what he wanted. And so, I had that a few times, which, as it was one of my earlier jobs, one of my earlier kind of positions of responsibility as I was climbing up the various chains, it kind of had a bit of an impact on me. And then again, more recently, where I've been trying to get coaching stuff going and looking out and seeing how things are and how messed up certain things are, and how some coaches who are an awful lot older than me have had all of that extra capital for a lower value of service, and yet then I'm sat there losing clients to these people just because they just seemingly happen to be older, and other such things like that. It's taxing. It wears down on the things inside your head, where it's like, you're not in the right place. You shouldn't be doing this. Oh, you're so stupid to try. Oh, you're just pretending. And that's often not the case. It's definitely not the case in regards to the two situations that I've given examples from my life. When I sit down and I have my clients, they all see the benefit of what I'm doing. I know my stuff and I bring it to you guys, both applying it to just abstracted coaching situations like what I'm going to go through here, but also in regards to other situations, commentary, games, messing around and having fun, and knowing when to relax and when to keep going with being more serious as best as I can. It's a case of, I definitely belong where I am at the moment, but there have still been these times when it's eaten away at me because just because of the way that the world is and the way that I'm observing other people, and it can be hard not to compare. But anyway, I've got seven things here that I've done and that I've done with clients as well to deal with imposter syndrome, deal with this situation as a whole. Now, the first thing is all of this stuff is based around feelings. There's usually very little fact involved in these experiences, And as a result, the thing that we need to do is raise our awareness as to what we're feeling. And I know that sometimes when I say stuff like that, it's like, well, I know what I'm feeling, but do you? Have you analysed it? Do you know where it's coming from? Yeah, are you feel sad? Fine, but why do you feel sad? What is it that's making you feel sad? Which part of the situation is it that you feel sad about? Are you feeling sad because these other people are being passed over compared to you for opportunities? Do you feel sad just because you don't feel that you're competing? Do you feel sad because you feel like those other people don't respect you? There are so many different things that those feelings could be attached to, or like little nuanced elements of those feelings that could run off and do whatever, mess around with your head. So it's a case of making sure that you know what they are, where they are, so you can keep them all in sight and know where they're going. The next thing to do then, number 2, would be to kind of let it out, deal with those feelings. And there may be an awful lot of feelings there, including fear and sadness and frustration and anger and all these kind of things, all these negative emotions that built up. But share your concerns with others. If you've got a manager that would listen, if you've got co-workers that would listen, especially if you've got co-workers among the people that you're potentially being brought down by, go and express your frustrations, your feelings. Seek support from those people, because maybe they could identify some other things going on there. More recently, I was frustrated about a thing with some stuff that was going on. I saw Hannah doing really well with the stuff that she's doing at the moment, and in a very similar situation where she was making a call, doing a thing, signing up on some stuff, and then those people got back to her like instantly got back to her, instantly dealt with her, and everything was great. And that was and that brought up some negative stuff in my head, because it was like, well, I do that, I send stuff off, I sign up for things, I've been trying to push really hard on some of these opportunities that I've been given, and I've been trying to take advantage of, and yet in many of those situations I'm then left waiting for a whole week before I hear anything. If I hear anything at all, there might be some very, very poor communication. There might be some communication that doesn't amount to anything, and I need to backtrack and follow up in a different direction. And it's frustrating. So what did I do? Did I seethe and go, oh, well, she's got it so good? No, I went, I said right then and there, you're very lucky, because here's how I feel about my situation, and I'm so glad that you don't have that about yours. Yeah? And so I was able to just vent that feeling, get it out of my head as it happened, to someone that was able to appreciate how bad it would be if her situation, that reminded me of what was going on with mine, if her situation hadn't gone that way, she would be able to understand how terrible that would feel. And so it was a way for me to get those feelings off my chest and just gain a little bit of support from someone that could understand. Yeah, it was like a 2-minute conversation between the two of us as something happened, and as a result, though, it allowed me to then just get rid of those thoughts. They weren't a problem anymore. Those feelings had gone because I'd been able to address them right then and there, and gain the appreciation that I wasn't just being daft. Even though we're working in slightly different spheres, there's still so much admin and paperwork and all the rest of it. It operates in very much the same way, and it was a case of me being able to just get those feelings off my chest and have someone that was willing to understand, so that we could both move on. The next one is when failure is tough to deal with. So the number 3 one that we've got here is when you have a failure, do not just wallow in it. You need to reconsider your perception of it. Was it a failure that was catastrophic? Or was it something that didn't go so well? Was it the worst thing that can happen? Because if it was the worst thing that can happen, fair enough. That's probably something for you to be upset about. If it wasn't the worst thing that could happen, then the question you should be asking isn't kind of, what do I do now? Oh, it's so terrible. It's, what can I learn from this so I can do better next time? Yeah, turn it round. Every failure is a learning experience. Every learning experience is a way to strengthen yourself. There is always a way to come out of failure through to becoming far stronger, as long as you keep that in mind, as long as you keep that viewpoint of everything that bad that happens to me, as long as it's not the worst, the absolute worst thing that could happen, which, if we're talking about jobs, for instance, would probably be that you just got sacked. As long as it's not the absolute worst thing that could happen, then you're probably fine. What can you learn from it to make sure that you are stronger next time? Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Not a difficult thing to tackle overall. The next thing is a lot of this revolves around self-worth. Yeah, if you don't feel like you're worth the space, if you don't feel like you're worth the company that you have, and so on, then there is a good chance that you will feel like an imposter. In which case, the things to consider here is, what is it that got you here in the first place? And what is it that shows you that you should be here? Just write down a list. I fully qualified with the best grade of X, Y, and Z. I've got X amount of experience. I've done X amount of other jobs that back this up. I've got all these transferable skills. I've done this, I've done that, I've done the other. I do this outside of work that backs up what I'm doing. And all that kind of stuff. Just have a list there that you can maybe refer back to. That's just yes, this is how you deserve to be here. This is how awesome you are. This is what you are worth. Yeah? No one's telling you to be like, I'm fucking amazing. But definitely don't downplay your success. Oh, I've got X amount of years of experience, but that wasn't very hard. It was just a 9-to-5 day job and all that. No. You still have that amount of experience. You don't get to downplay that, because downplaying that experience, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just means that you've got a strength there that you're not using. The next one, number 5, is you need to have a quick reevaluation of kind of the context around your situation. If you're feeling like an imposter, then there's a good chance you're feeling insecure, you're uncertain, or you're frustrated, or something like that. Was there ever a time in what you were doing at this moment that's causing this now? Was there ever a time when you didn't feel like that? And if there was a time that you didn't feel like that, then great. What was different? Because then if you can identify what was different between those times and how you were feeling about them, even though it's basically the same situation, then that gives you exactly what you need to do to solve the problem. Yeah, to make yourself feel better, to fit in better where you want to be, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just that quick check in on where you were and where you are and how they match up, what's changed. People, even if people are doing things amazingly and they're having a great time doing it, even they should be doing this kind of checking in between kind of what went before and what's happening now, because that way there are always those extra little things to learn from, extra little things to pick out from that you can improve with. And as a result, having those things kind of listed out, written down, just there to check off, it just allows you to go from strength to strength to strength. And no one is 100% confident all the time. No one is 100% confident any of the time, I might add. And so as a result, going, I feel much less confident now, well, fine, but what was it that allowed you to be more confident before? What was it that allowed you to not recognize that you were confident or unconfident? Because a lot of the time when you're feeling confident, it's not a part of your thought process. You're not thinking, I need to be confident today. When you know something and you're doing something that you know very well, you're just doing it. You're just being awesome at it. You're in your little flow state and you're just going. And it's only afterwards, when you're getting some feedback and other stuff, you're just like, yeah, I feel confident about what I just did. It's a hindsight thing. It's never in the moment. It's always either before or after. And so, keep that in mind and just have those moments to check in on your situation, not just on kind of what you're learning. Number 6 is one that I've talked about before, and I can sum it up very quickly, and that is that comparison is terrible. Do not compare yourself to other people. Everyone has different circumstances. Everyone's built differently. Everyone has done different things. Everyone's got different history. Everyone has even learned things differently to one extent or another. Do not compare. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. If you're improving, if you're doing better, then fine. Obviously, in workplaces, they will try to compare between as many of you on a team as possible and all that kind of thing, and that's fine. That can help set your standards to a degree because that's what the company is telling you that they want. In which case, though, then you should be comparing yourself between what you were yesterday, what you are today, and where the standards want you to go, rather than you today versus the rest of your team, and that's it. Make sure that you're comparing only to you and only to kind of rule sets and standards that are being provided to you that are completely abstracted. Do not compare yourself directly to other people. That is the lethal sword on which to fall. Yeah? But anyway, the last one, and this is one that's maybe easier said than done, but it's do what you need to do regardless of what you feel. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel like an imposter and forget about it and keep going. Yeah? Because if you stop, if you let these things slow you down, then you will always be that imposter. You will always be that person who feels like they aren't worth it or don't fit in or whatever else. Go after the goal. Yeah, ignore everything else and shoot straight for that goal and don't stop until you get there. Then you can feel whatever the hell you want. You can burst into tears, you can fall over and collapse and feel terrible. You can laugh maniacally at the sky. You can give yourself a little war cry and go off on a little rampage. You can do whatever you want after you've got to the goal. Until you've got to the goal, forget about the feelings, forget about the emotions, forget about the things that are trying to weigh you down from inside you. Just do. Obviously, there has to be some time maybe in there for planning, but otherwise, that the planning can be part of the doing. Just go, do, act, function. Don't worry about what you're feeling. What you're feeling is your own brain making stuff up. Sometimes it keeps you safe. Sometimes it lets you know where you need to go and what you need to do. Otherwise, don't let it touch you. Keep it in a box and have a look in the box every time you've achieved a goal or whatever else, in case there's something in there that needs unpacking or kind of recycling in some way. Beyond that, leave it in the box, put it in a filing space in your head, and let it sit there. Anyway, guys, I hope this is useful. Because, as you know, it sucks when you feel these things. It sucks to see other people feel these things when they are awesome people. Yeah, I've had friends who are artists who compare their work, and there's been one that's amazing and one that's just got their kind of own style, but their own style doesn't conform, and so they feel terrible about themselves. It's like, no, you're an artist. You should have your own form. Your work is still awesome. Stop. It's far and beyond anything that I have either taken the time to create or would ever be capable of creating. Stop it. We've seen friends sell themselves short over relationships, over work that they're doing, jobs that they've applied for, everything. No, they're all awesome in their own way. They all have things that they can bring to the table. Every single one of you watching this video has something that you can bring to the table, and that there are places where you will find that you belong. Most of the time, those are the places that you want to belong, that you actually decide to work at. That's it. Your brain will tell you an awful lot of things counter to that, but by God, that's entirely up to you. Everything is your choice. Don't let your feelings, these ghosts in your head, these chemical interactions between parts of your body that are purely there to either keep you safe as an animal or mess you up as something else, as a person. Don't let those things interact with you, and just go. Just do. But anyway, guys, I hope you found this interesting. Are there any other things that you would add to this list that I've just given you? But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I will see you in the video later. Take care.